Welcome to Boyz in the Hood TV. Today we're going to be discussing the life of DJ from the West Side Piru. Now DJ, born Dwayne Thomas, will be raised in Long Beach, California. He will live in a two-household home and be raised by the Lewis family. But at the same time, he also had family members who stayed out in South Central and also in Compton. Now as a kid, he would attend Vanguard Middle School in Compton, and he later would attend Centennial High School. Now this high school was a Damu-dominated school, which included the West Side Pirus, the Bounty Hunters, Treetop and Fruitown Pirus, the Cedars, and more. And this would lead to DJ to start running with the West Side Pirus. Now after graduating high school, he would officially leave Long Beach and start staying with family in South Central. Now he would move around before he would eventually stay in Compton. Now over the next few years, DJ would start working at Starbucks, but eventually get hired as a TSA agent over the next few years. Now at this point in his life, DJ was seemingly on a straight path, but the lure of gang life still had a hold and grasp on him. And on social media, he would be seen repping the 134th Street clique of the West Side Pirus. And when he wasn't at work, a lot of times he would be seen kicking it in his hood with his homies. But even with that side of his life, it was well known that DJ loved to do volunteer work in the community, specifically cleaning up at parks like Campanella and Magic Johnson's Park. Now, although he no longer stayed in Long Beach, from time to time, he would always go back to visit his family and friends every chance that he got. Now, around early 2020, there's an active war going on in Long Beach with the Mid-City Stoners and the Exotic City Crips. Now, the Mid-City Stoners are a LA-based gang, but they also have a branch out in Long Beach. Now, in Long Beach, they beef with multiple hoods, which include the Longos, Barrio Pobre, and all black gangs, and anyone claiming Crips, which would include the Exotic Family Crips. So the Mid-City Stoners are known to push CK heavily. Now, the Exotic Family are a part of the C Alliance, which is the Southeast Asians. Now, they beef with all Sureño gangs in Long Beach, but also the Tiny Rascals and other gangs in Harbor City, which include the Bloods and Pirus, like the West Side Pirus from Carson. Now, in April of 2020, a 14-year-old exotic Crip named Yankee would be shot and killed by members of the Mid-City Stoners, and 2 men would later be arrested for his murder. Now, this would set the city of Long Beach on fire with back and forth shootings. Now, that same exact year, DJ would make his way back to living in Long Beach by renting an apartment along with his friend named Crystal. Now, they would get a spot on 14th Street and Walnut Avenue, which was located in the Asian Boy Crips hood. But in 2021, he would find himself in trouble with the law after being charged with a DUI and a reckless driving while out in Compton. Now in 2022, DJ would find himself being caught up in the mix of the active war that was happening out in Long Beach. And sadly for DJ, death will come knocking for him. On June 3rd, 2022, at around 10:50 p.m., DJ would receive a text from his roommate, Crystal, about going out and grabbing something to eat. DJ would drive back to the apartment to meet up with her. Now once there, Crystal would run back inside the house to use the bathroom. And DJ would wait outside by the car, which was parked in the alley. Now at this same time, a vehicle was riding through the neighborhood, and inside that car, Ratto Boy from Sons of Samoa, a 15-year-old kid named Bad News from Exotic Family Crip, and a 19-year-old named Sagar from 18th Street. Now while they were driving, they would spot DJ standing outside the car in the alley. They would then pull the car over, hop out, and make their way down the alleyway towards DJ. Now without saying a word, they walked up to DJ and opened fire. They would let off multiple shots, and DJ would be hit 7 times, collapsing to the ground. All 3 would take off running, fleeing the scene. Now, as they ran down the alley, there was a woman named Catherine who was in her car at the opposite end. She would make eye contact with one of the shooters, and in return, they would open fire at her, striking her multiple times in her leg and back. Now, Crystal would come running down from the apartment to see DJ laying in the pool of his blood, struggling to breathe. She would immediately run back inside to call 911, who would arrive shortly after to find DJ face down in a pool of his blood. Now, both DJ and Catherine will be transported to the hospital, and Catherine would survive her injuries. But sadly, DJ would be pronounced dead. The medical examiner would reveal that DJ was shot 7 times, with 2 shots to his head.
Tonight, 1 person is dead, 2 others are injured.
Yeah, the shootings happened about 1.5 miles from each other in less than 3 hours apart.
About 2.5 hours later, and just 2 miles away, another shooting. Mario Diaz lives nearby and awoke to the sound of gunfire just before 11 p.m. near 14th Street and Walnut Avenue. Pretty scary.
Yeah, it's no good to go outside.
Police say 3 male suspects approached another man in his 20s and opened fire without provocation.
Good Samaritans who were in the area when the shooting occurred were rendering aid to the male victim when officers arrived.
Officers then located another shooting victim, a woman, near the main crime scene. Police say the 30-year-old woman happened to be driving by at the time when the suspects shot at her as they fled the scene. She sustained non-life-threatening injuries. The male victim was rushed to a hospital where he later died.
Now, the police would immediately start investigating, and they would obtain the surveillance footage from the nearby apartment complex. Now, on that footage, they will be able to identify Ratto Boy along with his vehicle. Now, investigators would obtain a search warrant immediately to gain access to Ratto Boy's social media accounts. Now, they would find group messages that were sent only minutes after the shooting took place of them bragging about the murder amongst each other. Now, messages would also reveal that 2 days after the shooting, the Ratto Boy sent a group message telling everybody that the police had just picked up surveillance footage from one of their homegirls' house who stayed out in that same area where the shooting took place. And in response, Sager from 18th Street would say, "It is what it is at the end of the day. Love y'all. We gonna be okay though." And 15-year-old Bad News from Exotic Family Crips will respond, "We gonna be smooth." And Sager responded, "Regardless, you only 15. Now, police believe that DJ was targeted because of his affiliation with the Westside Pirus. Now, although the Crips out in Long Beach don't have a direct beef with the Westside Pirus in Compton, they do have a long-standing issue with the Westside Pirus out in Carson. Now, on July 22nd, Long Beach police would arrest 5 people in connection with the murder of DJ. Ratto Boy, Sager, and Bad News were all being charged with murder and attempted murder. Also along with them, a 47-year-old man named Michael Levine, who police would also arrest for being in possession of 2 firearms, along with a 19-year-old girl named Emery, who would be charged as an accessory after the fact of this murder. Now in 2025, the trial will start. Now Sager from 18th Street was being charged with 2 counts of murder and attempted murder. The murder of DJ and the murder of a man named Jimmy Hawkins, which occurred in April of 2022. But before his case was even finished, Sager from 18th Street would die from an overdose while on the sheriff's transport bus on his way to court. Now, Ratto Boy was also being charged with the murder of Jimmy Hawkins along with Sager. Now, due to the lack of evidence, Ratto Boy is not being charged with the murder of DJ, but he was being charged with the attempted murder of Catherine Mearson that night that DJ was murdered. Now, by the end of his trial, he would take a plea deal and have his murder charge of Jimmy Hawkins completely dismissed. Now, he would be convicted of the attempted murder of Catherine, and the judge would sentence him to 9 years in prison. Now, the youngest, known as Bad News, would be tried as an adult and be found guilty of murder and attempted murder, and he would be sentenced to 17 years to life in prison. I would like to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.